T minus 3, 2, 1, ignition.
But you know about this life, yeah. Just relax, baby, get high, yeah. You're on your way to the best night ever. No top on, no top.
What is going on, Best Night Ever League? This is your former two-time last place team, Andrew, here to recap the second round of the first week games of the 2020 playoffs. We're going to go dive right into the first game, which is Michael versus Finley. Both put up some pretty nice points there. Finley with 142, Michael with 128. Michael's quarterbacks led the way with taking 22 points each. Cam Newton just completely destroyed the Chargers, and looks like the Vikings took care of business against Jacksonville just by an inch. Kirk Cousins having a good day there. Cam Newton literally just running the football and getting hardly any yards. That's been the story of Cam Newton's season. Good old Nyheim Hines there, worth every penny of $100. Got a nice little touchdown there. Give you 10 points, along with Antonio Gibson, who ended up getting hurt, only giving you 1 point. So that is a bummer for you going into the next round there. Hopefully it plays for you. Your receivers are pretty good. Tyreek Hill and Stephon Diggs giving you 11 and 14 respectively. Hunter Henry basically giving you one catch, ain't too good. Cooper Kupp getting you the receptions and yards, and your kicker Butker getting you 17 points, along with the Dolphins D, who has been amazing all year, getting you 16. I saw you drop Carson Wentz. Yeah, bummer that the Eagles are so bad and that Jalen Hurts is going to get the start. I wonder who's going to pick him up. You did leave a lot of points on your bench. I see Matthew Stafford got 30. Melvin Gordon got a nice 17. But other than that, a good, respectable 128 points. We move on to the favorite and the number one seed Finley, who had Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers had a pretty nice game, very respectable, and Russell Wilson did not play that good, surprisingly, against a second string quarterback and a third string running back. Surprisingly, only getting you 13 points, but your running backs definitely doing what they always do, finding the end zone, getting you a nice 80, 78 yards respectively. About 19 to 17 points between Chubb and Robinson. Your receivers, Calvin Ridley and Tyler Lockett, did all right. Tyler Lockett's just not getting the targets that he normally does with DK Metcalf doing his thing. Calvin Ridley, though, got you 100 yards. That was a pretty good day for him. And Travis Kelce getting you his average 25. He's on a whole different level for some of our tight ends there. I think there's like two of them that are just ridiculous, and then the rest of them is kind of question marks. Kareem Hunt doing his thing, getting you a nice 6-7 points in your flex position. Old Reliable getting you 9. The Seahawks defense only getting surprisingly 3 against the Washington football team. And Finley took that matchup 142 to 128. Michael does have some projections that could be favored in his next week's matchup. We'll get to that later. So that is your score so far, with Finley being ahead by looks like 14 points. That'll be an interesting matchup. We'll move ahead to the other winners bracket game, to the Cleveland Steamers versus Pretty Little Bitch, Thomas versus Jacob. Jacob's team is just on freaking fire. Despite having the worst record, he now is going to make the comeback. The comeback no one saw coming. His quarterbacks getting them 22 and 20 respectively. Deshaun Watson and Patty Mahomes, the number 1 and I believe number 4 quarterback. Deshaun Watson really picked it up. Number 6 quarterback, sorry. Yeah, Deshaun Watson had a wonderful game. Or not wonderful, just a decent game, getting those yards and a running touchdown. We have Patrick Mahomes doing his thing, getting you the yards. Just a casual little 20 pieces for both of them. Your running backs, Dalvin Cook, even though he didn't find the end zone, still getting you the yards you need. Definitely being one of the best fantasy running backs this year. I believe he is number 1. He's number 1 running back in standard and number 2 in PPR. That's good for him. Kenyon Drake, who you traded for, Cam ended up trading you, and he's been doing pretty good since he's been on your team. He's gotten nice 11, 14, 22, 12. I think you traded him when he got the 31 points, so he's been paying out dividends for you. Good for Kenyon Drake. You also traded for Michael Thomas, and you picked up Justin Jefferson, who's probably going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. He's just been putting up insane numbers. I think over the the last 3 weeks he's put up 20, or not, last 4 weeks he's put up 20, 16, 22, and 26. He's just been completely insane. So good on you for picking him up. And then Michael Thomas coming back, still getting those receptions. Still hasn't found the end zone, I don't believe, but yeah, he's still doing pretty good for you since you got him. He has 18, and 7 respectively in the last 3 weeks. So those two putting up 18 and 25 for you. And then your number one scorer ended up being your tight end, which was Darren Waller, who had a field day with 13 receptions, 200 yards, and 2 tutties. Yeah, he's just been him and Travis Kelce have been on a whole different level. They're just they're like on the tier list, it's those two, and the rest are basically wild cards. He exploded for that monster game, which really set you away from Thomas, even though Thomas put up not that many points. Gallman, who you ended up getting over Thomas by $1, which is very coincidental because he ended up doing well for you, getting that 135 yards. And your kicker getting you 14, so good week for you, Jacob. You put up actually 200 points. That's really good in the playoffs, and you're sitting pretty good. You have a pretty nice walkway into the championship there. Good for Jacob, considering I drafted 2 players for you this year, so hats off to you. And Thomas, who really, really had a disappointing week with his quarterbacks combining for less than 15, or I think combined for 15 points. Yeah, Herbert got a pretty bad game against the Patriots, only 2 points for you there. And Kyler Murray, ever since he's been kind of injured, he's not been performing. He's still the number 1 quarterback, but the last 2 weeks he's been putting up 7 and 13, which isn't ideal, especially during crunch time in the playoffs. Let's go down to your running backs. Aaron Jones, Bones Jones, he's been pretty consistent all year. He's number 5 running back so far. But got a nice 130 yards and a touchdown. That big long carry really, really sealed those points for you. And then you played Miles Sanders, who I presume you would have played Gallman instead if you would have just only bid $2 higher. But yeah, so Miles Sanders basically did nothing. The Eagles are just so bad this year. There's nothing you can do. And also he's been injured, so 3 points isn't surprising for Miles Sanders. Scary Terry actually surprisingly did not do well either, despite Washington upsetting the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, he was basically he was a little bit shaken up in that game, but only 2 points for him there. That's not ideal from Scary Terry. Keenan Allen, five receptions, 48 yards, nothing too special there. And Trey Burton only getting 1 point. That's just how tight ends are going this year. One of the opposite team gets 43.5 points. One gets 1 point. So Adam Thielen being old reliable, giving you a nice solid 17.5 points. He's 30 years old and still the number 5 receiver. So good for you there, Adam Thielen, having a decent week. Blankenship and Ravens defense not doing a whole lot for you there. So you only ended up with 83 points this week. You're now behind around 114 points, which isn't ideal going into next week. I think if Jacob were to sit his defense, kicker, and flex position, Jacob might still get the W there. So it looks like probably Jacob's going to move on unless Jacob ends up with a Thomas week and Thomas ends up with a Jacob week. Highly unlikely, especially if you have Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. So good on Jacob for getting that huge dub, and we'll look forward to seeing him in the championship. And now we'll move on to one of the losers bracket games, which is Bobby versus Cam. This actually ended up being pretty high scoring so far. Bobby with 150, Cam with 134. Bobby was led by both of his quarterbacks getting over 30. That's really, really big. That hardly happens unless you're Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes. Derek Carr with a nice 4 touchdown game, 1 rushing, 3 passing, and a nice 381 yards. And Josh Allen with 4 touchdown passes and 375 yards. That's just crazy what they were able to do on their respective games there. Your running backs didn't do so hot. You played the backup to Josh Jacobs, who ended up giving you basically nothing, but you pretty much made up for it with Derek Carr going off. And Raheem Mostert ended up getting 4.8. He hasn't been the same since his injury. He'll look better next week. Your receivers did pretty okay. Amari Cooper, who has been pretty down there ever since Dak got injured, giving you a nice 13 points. He hasn't been the receiver he once was in the earlier part of the year. He did put up 23 2 weeks ago against Washington, but number 18 receiver right now. He had a decent week for you. And DeAndre Hopkins, who is the number 10 receiver, 6 in PPR. Didn't have the greatest week, but I still snagged 100 yards for you. So good on him. And they both combined for 29 points respectively. Your tight end, who me and Thomas both dropped, Toyon got you nice 12 points. He always finds a way in the end zone. Aaron Rodgers is always getting those touchdown passes. Then we'll hit Julio Jones. His first game back after missing a few games, got 94 yards. That's pretty good. Still haven't found the end zone just yet. And your kicker and defense getting you 8 and 14 points. So Bobby ended up with a nice 150 piece. He is ahead of Cam, who Ben Roethlisberger had a pretty nice game. But Cam played Mitch Trubisky over Tom Brady, who had a bye, and Mitch Trubisky only ended up with 12 points. Alvin Kamara got you a nice 16.7. He had a touchdown and 88 yards. Dolphins running back Gaskin only got 90 yards. The fumble really costed him, but he got you a nice 12. So they both combined for around 28 points. Devontae Adams continues to be the number 1 receiver, I believe. No, number 2 receiver. Sorry, number 2 receiver. He held in casual 2 touchdowns, 121 yards. He got you a nice 32 points. He'll be definitely a keeper for you. Good trade on you on that part. And then you played a Steelers receiver, Deontay Johnson, who seems to be their number 1 right now. Found the end zone and 71 yards. Good on you. You played Dobbins, the running back for the Ravens, who actually got 10 carries, 71 yards, and a touchdown. That was a good play on your part. Even though your defense got negative 2 points, you're still in this fight. You're only down around 16 points, and it could go either way next week. So this is going to be crunch time. I'll get into projections after I recover my and Connor's game, and that's where we lead to. We got my team versus Connor's team. Pretty pathetic weeks for both of us. The highlight of both our teams, Taysom Hill and Lamar Jackson getting Connor 20 points each. Lamar actually had that really long one against the Cowboys, so that was good on Lamar seeing him back. Jonathan Taylor came back, got some carries and some big runs and a big long pass. That got him 21 points for Connor. Austin Eckler was kind of limited, even with 8.8 points and getting shut out. He still ended up getting some yards, both receiving and running. Devontae Parker dropped some touchdown passes. He didn't have a good week. Corey Davis had the big day. A.J. Brown just kind of got the casual 67 or 87 yards, and he fumbled. T.J. Hawkinson got you a nice 12 points. He's been the number 4 tight end. He kind of came out of his shell. Good play on his part. He had a nice little game against Chicago with 84 yards. Allen Robinson being very consistent, got you 75 yards. He is the number 16 receiver, number 10 in PPR. He just always gets yards. Just a bummer he doesn't have a quarterback throwing it to him. Younghoe Koo, probably the best player on Connor's team. Number 1 kicker, just completely number 1 point scorer on the NFL, just completely putting up point after point, 12-point week. He's just been completely reliable. Those defense didn't do any favors, but right now you still have the lead over my team by 9 points, which basically isn't that much, but it's crunch time now. I put up 112 points, which is the second lowest, typical of my fantasy endeavors. Ryan Tannehill got a nice 30 piece, got 389 yards, 3 touchdowns. They pretty much only passed it when they were down by 5 touchdowns to the Browns. Matt Ryan, being typical Matt Ryan, played the Saints, didn't do so hot. Only 12 points on his part. Connor's lucky he played Derrick Henry's worst week all year. I think I saw Derrick Henry hadn't fumbled in like 275 attempts, and he fumbled in the first quarter there, and Titans just couldn't get back onto their feet after his fumble. Connor enjoyed a nice 4-point week from Derrick Henry. Chris Carson came back, got about 58% of the back touches for the Seattle, ended up getting 18.5 points. Good on him. He caught a nice long touchdown pass from Russell Wilson, so good to see him do well. DK Metcalf got 5 catches for 80 yards. That's just a nice casual week for DK. Didn't find the end zone, didn't get over 100 yards, but still a decent week for him, but not the greatest. He could do better. Brandon Cooks being very consistent. Once again, getting a lot of receptions there for Texans. He only got 5 this week for 65 yards. He also had a concussion, so he'll be on the lookout for next week. And then we have Dallas Goedert being a pretty decent tight end despite Zach Ertz coming back. Put up some nice yards there, 66. Juju had a pretty terrible game, along with Will Lutz getting injured in the second half. He did come back, but still got injured. And then Seattle defense playing the Giants got 11. So that is the final game there. 121 Connor and 112 to me. Going into next week, the lower seed teams are in a difference of 9 points and 14 points. So anything can happen, and this is now crunch time for everyone. So best of luck to everyone. If you're in the winners bracket, you are safe. You're just kind of enjoying seeing if you can get first. Looks like Jacob's gonna move on, but as for Finley and Michael, I think Finley is favored, but it's still anyone's game. But that is your week recap, and now we'll go on to some projections for next week. And here are your projections going into the last week of the second round of the playoffs. This is huge time. We'll start with the easiest one with Cleveland Steamers versus Privilege Little Bitch Thomas, Jacob versus Thomas. Both quarterbacks are projected to go off. Kyler Murray's playing the Giants, and Justin Herbert's playing the Falcons. They're both projected 22 apiece. I'm thinking Aaron Jones is projected almost 20 against Detroit, and Miles Sanders, who knows, he's a wild card. I think 13.5 or 12.95 is generous for him. Scary Terry playing San Fran, he has the potential to go off. He is questionable, I did see. They said he was limited to practice, but there were apparently a lot of people limited to practice. But coming off his worst game of the season, I'm thinking he'll do better than 2 points. Keenan Allen's projected 15. You may have to get rid of your tight end. He's kind of a wild card. He had one good week back against Cincinnati. Not looking too hot. He only played 25 snaps too, is what I see. They have Jack Doyle and Mohai Cox, so it's kind of like, what do you do there? You have Adam Thielen. I think he'll get more than 13 for you. And then your kicker and defense should do all right. Jacob just has a red-hot team with Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, Dalvin Cook. Combined, that's like an automatic 60 points, and that's like low-balling those three. He can also just play those three and probably win and still have more points than Jacob. Michael Thomas, he'll look to have a good week against the Philadelphia defense. And then Justin Jefferson still playing as he has been playing. He's gotten like 90 yards, 99 yards, 91 yards, 82 yards, and 4 touchdowns in the last 4 games. So he'll look to keep it going. He's now the number 7 wide receiver PPR and number 4 standard. So I'm looking to see if he'll have another big week like he did. I think he also breaks. He broke a few records yesterday. He broke Randy Moss's franchise record with his 5th 100-yard game of his rookie season. So looking like DK Metcalf out there. Darren Waller will look to go off. I don't think he'll get 43.5 points for you again, but he'll still look to be good. And, your team, Jacob's going to move on, I think, in this matchup. Even the projections are just 99 to 1. Thomas, I'm sorry, but at least you don't have to do the punishment, and that's probably all you're really planning to do. We'll head to the other winners bracket game of Michael and Finn. Now, this one says that Finley has a 99% chance of winning. I don't think that's right. I think it just needs to update on my end. Michael only down 14 points. It's still very winnable. Anything can happen. These are very, very close weeks for all 3 of the rest of the games. Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers are both projected to get over 23 points with them playing the terrible Lions and the terrible Jets. Finley also has Robinson playing Tennessee, who doesn't have the greatest defense. He'll look to do good. Nick Chubb is playing Baltimore. That'll be a tough matchup, but they should still get their yards and touchdowns. Tyler Lockett potentially could go off against the Jets. You never know. Either him or DK, but never both. Calvin Ridley on the Chargers. That could be a decent matchup for him. And Travis Kelce, he'll get you 25 points. That's already a given. And you play Kareem Hunt. So regardless if Nick Chubb doesn't do anything, you have Kareem Hunt to take care of the business because Cleveland is a 75% run team, and I'm glad they realized that. because Baker Mayfield, even after last week, they're a run-first team. And then Old Reliable in the Steelers defense, Finley looks to win this matchup. Michael does have Kirk Cousins and Stafford in his lineup currently. Stafford's playing Green Bay, and Kirk Cousins is playing the Tampa Bay Bucks. I don't think that's who he's rolling with, but if he is, those two are both projected to get 18. They should have pretty decent games. Kirk Cousins might be tough against Tampa Bay, but we'll see. Big question is McCaffrey going to play or is he not? Christian McCaffrey's projected 20 points. He could potentially go off for more. I did see he was limited in practice today, but when he plays, he goes off. He's only played in 3 games this year, and each game it's been 27, 22.8, and 32 points. Like, who knows? I mean, he's been out since week 9, and his shoulder's been messed up. This we'll see if Bobby plays Mike Davis or not too. So that'll be a crazy week. You never know. I hope he plays to make the matchup interesting, but not looking too good for McCaffrey. He is playing in this lineup right now. He is playing Melvin Gordon, who did have that big run against the Chiefs. So he'll look to follow that performance. Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, both projected to get 16.07 and 14. Tyreek Hill playing the Dolphins, he potentially could go off for another 200 yards. Stephon Diggs does have a tough matchup with the Steelers, so Scary Terry just got 2 points against him, so that'll be a performance we'll watch out for in Diggs. Hunter Henry, he got you 1 point last week. He'll definitely do better this week. Ronald Jones is back playing the Vikings after a bye, so he'll look to get some points there. He's actually 4th in yards. Regardless of what number running back he is, I think he's around, he's 11 or 12. He is 4th in rushing yards, so crazy stat for Ronald Jones there. And Butker and Dolphins defense. I don't know if you'll play the Dolphins defense against the Chiefs. I don't presume you will, but it's looking pretty close in this matchup. I think Finn edges the victory and plays Jacob in the championship, and we'll have a battle of the number 1 seed versus pretty much the number 8 seed, the red hot Cleveland Steamers there. So that is your matchup there. We'll head right into Bobby and Cam's matchup. This is also a 14-point game right here. Cam looking to avoid another trip to the toilet bowl, which he did win last year because of Jameis Winston. So we'll see if Cam can avoid the L here. Michael has Josh Allen and Andy Dalton in his lineup currently. He's not playing Derek Carr because Derek Carr is playing Indianapolis Colts, and I know some notable performances from quarterbacks that did not do well there. For example, Aaron Rodgers. So he is playing Andy Dalton against the Bengals. He's projected about 20. He's playing James Conner against the Buffalo and Todd Gurley against the Clippers, the Chargers. Well, good luck playing Todd Gurley. I know he did wonders for me, so I hope he does well for you. DeAndre Hopkins will look to bounce back against the Giants secondary, who actually did play Seattle pretty good. I'm curious if the Giants will do the same thing against the Cardinals. And then Julio will be back, hopefully looking a little bit better off that stiff shoulder or whatever was it, his knee. Or regardless, I think Julio will be just fine in that game. You're also playing Amari Cooper, who plays the Bengals, and then you're playing Tuyan for the Packers. He always tends to find the end zone. He actually right now is the number, I believe, he's number 5, maybe 6 or 7 tight end right now. But yeah, it's going to be a good matchup for you. I don't think you're playing the Rams defense against New England, but you never know, you could. So yeah, this is going to be a close performance. I don't think you'll get 150 this week, but we shall see. In recent past, you've put up, I think, around less than 100 points last 2 weeks, so this was a good bounce back week for you, but you never know what could happen. Cam has Big Ben and Tom Brady back in his lineup, projected to get 20 each. Big Ben's just been pretty solid for you all year. Tom Brady playing the Minnesota Vikings, that's a favorable matchup for him. Alvin Kamara being a top 3 running back this year will look to do good against the Philadelphia Eagles defense, and Gaskin against the Chiefs. Devontae Adams will get more than 19.8 points. He'll get you probably 30 because he's playing the Detroit Lions. And Chris Godwin's back in your lineup after a few injuries in his hand, so hopefully he'll become the old Chris Godwin. Although I hope that he throws to Mike Evans more, but that's just me. Then you have Gronk, who's been solid all year, probably one of the comeback of the year or player comeback player of the year candidate. Him, like Alex Smith, and I believe there's a few other good ones out there that I haven't mentioned. But yeah, your team's looking pretty good. I think this is going to be a really, really close one, and I think I'm going to go for the upset that Cam edges Bobby here by around 10 points. I think it'll be really interesting. This is going to go down to the wire. And finally, we go to the game against myself and Connor, who is only 9 points ahead. This is going to be interesting. He has Taysom Hill against the Philadelphia Eagles. Taysom Hill has been doing pretty good for Connor since Drew Brees got injured. And Lamar Jackson is playing Cleveland. That'll be an interesting matchup there. Yeah, I think they're both projected 20 points. They may as well could get those points. They're very capable of doing so. Jonathan Taylor is still in Connor's lineup with Eckler. Eckler will definitely get more of an opportunity against Atlanta than he did against the Patriots. So I think he'll get around his projection of 16. Jonathan Taylor, I hope, doesn't do as well as he did last week. Got some really nice runs and a long touchdown pass. Hopefully Hines can do his job for me. I spent $100 on him, so maybe that'll give me good karma. I don't know, probably not. My fantasy luck. Allen Robinson and A.J. Brown are in your lineup as of now, but you definitely probably might change those. I'm not sure who your pickups are going to be, but as of now, those are your two receivers. A.J. Brown's going up against Jacksonville Jaguars, and Allen Robinson's going up against the Texans. Those are favorable matchups on two terrible defensive teams. That's kind of scary for me. T.J. Hawkinson's playing against the Packers. They're not a good defense either, but they can't stop the run, but they're decent against the pass, so that'll be an interesting matchup. Fresh Prince of Hell-Air, CEH is going to be back in your lineup. He was active last week, but didn't get any carries. They kind of gave the ball to Le'Veon there, but he'll look to come back and get those touches, hopefully. And Younghoe Koo will get more than 9. He'll probably get you 15 because he's old reliable. And I don't think you have the Bills' defense either, but you have some pretty decent matchups. Meanwhile, I have some wonderful matchups on my side. We have Ryan Tannehill and Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan playing the Chargers, who just gave up 45 to Cam Newton, and Ryan Tannehill, who's playing the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. Hopefully they get their projections. I'm hoping they're going to go off and have a good week. Derrick Henry, coming off his worst week ever, will definitely have more than 4 points. So I'm happy to get him back and finally not suck ass. So I'm thinking it's going to be around his projection. I don't know. Jacksonville hasn't been the best defensive team, but we'll see. Chris Carson and DK Metcalf both play the New York Jets, who are 0-12. So I'm hoping they'll get their projections and even higher. They're projected to go off, considering how terrible they were last week. Mike Evans is now playing off a bye. He is questionable, but I believe he'll play against the Vikings. That's a favorable matchup for him. Him and Chris Godwin will look to see if they can get some catches. Goddard is playing the Saints. That's a tough matchup. That's probably the toughest matchup in my lineup. I'm still going to play him regardless because tight ends this year are a big what if, unless you have Darren Waller or Travis Kelce. Will Lutz hopefully doesn't get injured off a kick again and becomes a normal kicker. We'll see. Hopefully he won't get more than 2 points. And then the Saints defense against Philadelphia, backup quarterback Jalen Hurts should be just fine. My prediction is I edge Connor in this victory and finally give up the toilet bowl trophy. It would be history in this league where Andrew does not get a last place. And that is your projections. Everyone, it's been a wonderful year. Basically, this week is very important for some teams, especially the ones in the lower bracket who don't want to avoid the punishment. Trust me, I've been there. It isn't as bad as you think. You either jump out of a plane or you, do a hot one, ride the bus, and you get it after like 3 tries. It's not too bad. But knowing me, if I do lose, I'll probably get the go to church every Sunday punishment, which I already do. Regardless, good luck, everyone. This is going to be a crazy week, and I'll be hopefully hitting everyone up during it because I want to get everyone's live reactions to it as well. And enjoy your Thursday, enjoy your Friday, enjoy your Saturday, and get ready for some crazy Sunday football.